What's going on, everyone? The spoilers for Black Clover Chapter 320 are out, and Asta is at death's door, just like I predicted he would be multiple times on this channel. And to top that prediction off, guess who arrived just like I said he would to defend him when he's about to die? Yuno himself pulls up with his dual Grimoire, ready to defend Asta with his life, but he's going to need a lot more than that. So ultimately, as I envision, he will not only fail to protect Asta, but in doing so, he will fall into despair, and his 4-leaf will become a 5-leaf Grimoire. But before we dive into that, let's talk about the beginning of this chapter, when Asta took a swing at Lucifero's neck, but cut his horns instead. Lucifero shows off some incredible reacting speed by dodging in such close range. But now Lucifero was pissed off just from getting his horn cut off. That's his pride getting hurt right there. After all, he's the king of devils. You would think that no one inferior would dare to challenge him, yet every inferior human has done just that. So in retaliation, we see Lucifero slamming Asta into the dirt while he's still in Devil Union. Asta gets completely overwhelmed once again, and Devil Union becomes undone. Now, I don't know if this is due to Lucifero ferociously tap dancing on Asta's body, or if it's because the timer has expired. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but we flip back to the captain since the Nozel saved Asta from Lucifero's pounding. Then he decides to start spitting some hot garbage at a time like this, so Lucifero sends him flying, as he rightfully should, because I'm not trying to hear that either. Then here comes Fuego Leon and Mario Leona, but they get tossed aside too, unfortunately. And while all that is taking place, the second gate Supreme Devil is watching this cinematic masterpiece of the humans getting clobbered by Lucifero. This guy hasn't done a thing, and yet he's still very interesting to me. I wonder what Tabata has planned for him. Next, we see Lucifero going for the kill for Asta. He really wants Asta packed up for all the troubles he's caused, and boy do I believe it will happen. But before we get to that, Yuno's going to start protecting Asta while Mimosa attempts to heal him up, okay? So Mimosa's coming in the clutch again to do her job and erase the beating that Asta took. However, I wonder if she's going to have time to do all of that. We'll just have to wait and see. Now here's an interesting note. Yuno, as we just seen in this latest chapter, Yuno can now use his stars to oppose the gravitational force created by Lucifero in just a small radius. Not only that, he can teleport anyone under the stars and not just himself. Here's another thing about Yuno star magic. The name Lucifero from Black Clover is the Latin version of the name Lucifer. So the full name would be Lucifer Morningstar. Now, I wonder if the Lucifero in Black Clover is a fallen angel. Then I wonder if his magic before his fall was star magic. You know, morning star, star magic. That's just a guess, but here's another idea. I've speculated in the past that Yuno star magic will be the key to connecting the human world to the gates to heaven. If Lucifero from the Black Clover world wants to take revenge against the gods, which I'm assuming exist in the Black Clover world, and star magic does indeed tie into the worlds of God, then I wonder if he keeps Yuno around for the second point I'm about to say. So Yuno is here to protect Asta from dying, of course, but what if he fails to do that? Well, here we go again. That 4-leaf Grimoire Yuno has will be used by Lucifero to achieve another power-up if he can force Yuno to despair. Then he can obtain a 5-leaf from Yuno. Now, I know I've constantly mentioned this in the past, but one thing that I want to touch on that I haven't mentioned once is that Yuno's soul is not tied to his 4-leaf Grimoire. His soul is actually tied to his star magic. So if Yuno does fall into despair, how will this affect the soul tied to his 4-leaf Grimoire? Would Yuno only become 50% corrupt? Because if he falls into despair, then he becomes if you fall into despair, then you become a darker version of yourself, right? So what does that mean for Yuno? Well, that's something we'll have to find out if this does take place in the future. But say he does fall into despair and becomes corrupted. Not only will he take Yuno's Grimoire, he will also have control over Yuno's actions if he becomes 100% corrupt. I can't say that for 50%, but if Lucifero gets control over 100% of his actions, then he could make use of Yuno's star magic too, right? So if connecting the gates to heaven do revolve around Yuno's star magic, then it makes sense for Lucifero to keep Yuno around for when that time comes. But until that time, we wait. I'd like to know I'd like to know what you think of the idea of Lucifero obtaining one of Yuno's Grimoire for a power-up in the comments, and that Grimoire is being his 4-leaf, turning it into a 5-leaf. But that's it for me. Peace out.